Well, now, where were we? Jim was the last person to say something, and I just want to add one little drop of spice into the soup. I just want to say, those pesky Aldebrans. That's all I want to say.
If I can add something.
Please.
Finish. Okay. Many groups, in particular some human groups from different star systems, they tended to go with where the power is. They tended to get political because of so many long, protracted wars that have occurred in our galaxy between humans and non-humans and reptilians and AI. Everyone is pretty much exhausted of war. And it's not hard to understand that because we're exhausted of war as well on this planet. So I just wanted to add that the situation that occurs in the future isn't going to happen. It's already been altered. And it literally is contained in this time, this present time. The key, though, to really making this thing move in a positive fashion is us, the people. And there is movement. It could be faster. I think everybody out there wants it to be faster, but they're very patient with us because they understand the incredible hardships that humanity has had to bear with all the negative intervention and manipulation that's occurred. And I can honestly tell you they're amazed at how we still have such fortitude and such basic common goodwill for each other, and how we all pretty much want the same things, and how we still find a place to create love in our lives. I can tell you that, when we get to the other side of this, humanity will have some things to teach the rest of the galaxy, because no one has gone through what we're going through, not even close. And it's certainly not for the length of time we've had to deal with that. So I just want you to know that the situation is pretty much contained, but unfortunately, in our solar system, these things have to play out, and they're going to. I also want you to know that the human or the Terran space program, the benevolents who are out there beyond the asteroid belt, they are fully aware of who each crew is, because again, they're from the future. And not only are they aware of the crew, but also their intent. So there is quite a bit going on, and at last I heard, many of the crews were being sequestered and quarantined somewhere behind the moon. They weren't allowed to travel because these crews are our crews. They were finding out how much they were being used and manipulated, and they're not at all happy with the role that they have been forced to play or were manipulated into playing, so that there's dissension amongst the ranks all the way down and all the way up. And there's a very small core group of reptilians and AI that are desperately, drastically trying to maintain their control of their minions. And it's only a matter of time before all the dominoes fall, and it's over. And it's over for them. They will implode into their own fear and their own darkness. So what we need to do is just stay focused, try to stay positive, continue to encourage people to be positive, to reach and create what it is that they really want, to focus on things that they really, really want that are positive and beneficial for them and for their families. and, be the observer, not to buy into all this shit that's being created, try to draw us, away from positive energy, positive field into a negative field. We simply cannot feed these beings any longer. We just can't feed them. We have to starve them out of here. And that's all I got.
Would you say, at what level, and I put this out to everybody here, at what level would you say, is there a quarantine zone around the planet? Is it around the planet and the moon? Would it extend all the way to Mars, the asteroid belt? Is there, in fact, a quarantine zone, and who is manning the quarantine zone?
My understanding is that it goes out to the asteroid belt, and it's being manned by no less than 48 different star races.
Okay. Would the Pleiadians and the Mantids be part of that group?
Well, I can't speak for the Mantids. That would be
Simon could probably answer.
That would be the other distinguished gentleman. As far as the Ps, I know that some of the Ps are involved. I can't say which particular system they're from, but a majority of the situations we have, as far as it allowing to get this bad, is the result of some Pleiadian groups not stepping up. They simply didn't want to step up. And
right.
In hindsight, and for their reasons, it's understandable. They were exhausted of war.
Right.
But nonetheless, they weren't capable of doing it on their own. And then they thought they could, but they couldn't. So now there is a very, very large contingency here to back them up and to assist them. And there's an even bigger contingency behind them, because, everyone's done with war. We're over it. Everybody's over it. So,
it's interesting.
This last group.
Media, in fact, in the media, we have this the new version of Independence Day coming out on 4th of July, which once again is the celebration of xenophobia, that the evil aliens are on their way to attack us once again. And I just wonder if in fact that the false flag is that the evil aliens have already taken over here, and it's the liberators that are coming to put an end to this nonsense. And that's why you're getting this reverse psychology in the media.
Well, I think I personally think that's a part of it. My feeling is that the next false flag is going to be a pretend second coming, that they're going to play out the second coming. They're going to try to fool everyone into becoming property, into buying into a belief system, a world religion belief system that they have to follow this new leader, and this new leader is going to lead them back into war. And that's what I've been told to look out for, that they're going to play this thing out. Because humanity has had this taught to them for 2,000 years. Everybody's waiting for it.
Exactly. Well, that's where they fall back to their original game plan.
Right, but that's their last straw.
Right.
I think what strikes me there, and I absolutely agree with everything that Alex has said, I would just add that what is unique here is that for the first time, many, many different races actually decided to work together. Until that point, there had been a number of races which had been involved on Earth trying to redress the balance. And they got to the point where they realized that if the cancer wasn't stopped here, it would just spread everywhere. And so a number of separate councils were formed, which went right across groups, as long as there was humanity in their genetics. And they all decided that they would work together, by and large, to bring this about. Now, they had to do it because what they were facing was an adversary who didn't play by any rules at all. And individually, they were hard-pressed to overcome what was here. But by joining together, and they are above, many of these races are above the sixth dimension. Some of these races are quite high, offering energy technology technology and allowing things to occur which are not in the physical sense. And then you've got your fifth and your sixth dimensions who are very much in the physical sense. And it's that which I think was the most heartening, to see all of the different groups who can all trace some connection to humanity here on the planet, all have some responsibility, all have some understanding, and decided to put aside their individual concerns or their individual we don't get involved and have worked together. And that, I think, is wonderful. And when that happened, and it's very recent, actually, as time goes, that was a big flag that was raised, so that the negative forces knew that now something greater than them was actually opposed to them. So no longer were they fractured, an individual being picked off, they were working as one. And that's when humanity, I think, took a great leap on this planet. So, I think we all agree, it sooner rather than later, I can't wait for it to come. It will be difficult, but we need to get through it. We need to do it, and the sooner we get into it, the sooner we can come out the other end. So yeah, I think what Alex is saying is right there, and no longer now how people being careful. The gloves are off, and we've seen a lot of very, very interesting activity under the earth, on the surface of the earth, and above the earth as well.
Well, now that you mentioned under the earth, there's a question I'd like to ask Simon. I don't know if you realize or you've heard that a recent posting on the internet claims that within the NASA or the NSA files that whistleblower Edward Snowden released, there is discussion that about the reality of inner Earth civilizations, that there are a more intelligent group of Homo sapiens that actually lives within the mantle of the Earth, not necessarily the center of the Earth, but intelligent species, intelligent civilizations that actually live and have lived for a long, long time within the mantle of the Earth. Would you care to comment on that, Simon?
I'm happy to. There's more than one group. There is a native form of reptilian, for a start, that doesn't wish to really be involved with humanity, isn't aggressive unless it's bothered. Mm-hmm. There are a form of humanity that can trace its link back to Atlantis and Lemuria, who have taken themselves away. And you think about Admiral Byrd, who went and had a little look and ran away very quickly. Uh-huh. So there are groups. I mean, I have one very strong memory of. I'll just quickly split that. It's really lovely that Alex talks about Manet and Visayas, and these guys gave him their real names. But of course, my creatures come from the fourth dimension, and they don't give real names in the fourth dimension. And I got stuck with Mum and Dad. And when I visit Dad, I visited him once, what appeared to be in an underground chamber. It was almost like a fourth dimensional recreation. So in other words, he was incapable of living in the Earth's natural energy. They don't breathe oxygen for a start. So they had to create their own environment. And this is what we were talking about. A lot of the energy that they take from the planet, from the people on the planet, they use to maintain an environment in which they can survive. It's not quite the fourth dimension. It sits between the third and the fourth. It's almost an interdimensional space.
So if an explorer went climbing down into the inner Earth, would they actually physically experience this civilization, or is it beyond our physicality?
No, because these creatures could take the third dimensional form. Uh-huh. So yes, you could be, and Alex will absolutely understand this, you could be walking down a corridor and then a reptilian, shall we say, type creature could emerge, and that reptilian creature already knows what 7 or 8 guys in that corridor are thinking, what they're going to do, who's going to do it first, and it makes them very, very difficult characters to deal with. But to your answer to your question, yes, you would ultimately find ancient technology, but then you would find more advanced technology built on the back of that old technology. And Admiral Byrd was given my understanding, he was given a demonstration. You know, you don't want to start a war, and Alex says it, we're all sick of it. So Admiral Byrd was given a demonstration of their power, and so he just packed his bags and came home again.
Well, it's very interesting because within the Snowden document, it stated that the president himself receives daily briefings about the activities of these underground civilizations. And also, it says they had contingency plans to detonate nuclear weapons in deep caverns to sting the enemy down there, as if it would discourage further attacks or further confrontations with this highly advanced technology, which sounds absolutely ludicrous to me that we would be so stupid as to attempt that.
Well, all I can tell you is there's an exchange program that the American administration, regardless of which president is in power, that really doesn't have any bearing on it whatsoever. But there are individuals down there who can give reports and updates, and it's a diplomatic move.
Exactly.
And that's what's occurring. So the president, through the National Security Council, is just getting a watered-down version of what the NSA is actually getting itself. The council's only getting a small part of it. But it was part of a deal to keep the peace, because these underground locations were neither seen as threatening nor friendly. They were seen as neutral forces, which could tip the balance if they threw their lot in with one side or the other.
Exactly.
So that's really where we are with it.
That's the way they portrayed themselves to Admiral Byrd. It's like, we understand that you're playing with nuclear weapons at this point, but this is your issue. We're not going to step in one way or the other. If you want to destroy yourselves, that's your problem.
Well,
we're going to stay out of this.
No, I don't think so, because the damage that would be caused on the surface of the planet would be so catastrophic that it would actually have an effect on anyone who couldn't contain themselves in an energy field underground. If you think about the future, one timeline future where the elite take themselves underground and get converted into small little greys, that's one of the issues that we have to be careful of, this penchant for rushing underground and protecting ourselves. I think basically what was said was the threat that could occur was so great that both sides were forced to come to a diplomatic view. I don't think anybody who is spiritually advanced would even want a nuclear war. It's only the psychopaths or the crazy people who think they can hide underground for 20 years and then come out and inherit the earth. I mean, it's just insane.
Right. Well, the inner earth people, as I understood, as I read the text, really sent Admiral Byrd back to Washington as an ambassador for them, to speak on their behalf and to try to encourage the administration in Washington to back off from the nuclear proliferation.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, you must understand that Admiral Byrd was chosen because he was a very calm, steady, solid person who, when confronted with something, quote, out of this world, wouldn't go to pieces. And they complimented him on that aspect of his character also. Right, that I didn't know.
Yes.
Okay. So it did buy
it's like they picked him specifically because of his character, so you'd be the best person, to speak as an ambassador for us on this. Very interesting.
Well, it did buy the peace, largely in terms of that particular administration, with that particular group.
Right. Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Hello, anybody there?
A moment of pause. Interesting. It's just exactly at the 90-minute mark.
I would like to ask Alex something. Alex, what information do you have about the old base on the Moon and Mars, Adam and Eve? Do you think there were any humans left after the attack?
Well, I don't have anything new. The focus has not been on the outer planets at all, just our planet as of late. But I will tell you that there were some survivors, and and they managed to pick up and continue on. And I know that there are treaties in place, and several groups are learning to live together. Preface that, learning to live together. I don't believe that Mars is being used as a staging area to attack the benevolence, which is why it's being left alone. I think pretty much what's happening is that there are specific planetoids in the asteroid belt that were being used as a staging platform to sell weapons to other groups, rogue groups, as well as to attack fleets and ships that were passing through from one galaxy to another. All of that is halted, and essentially what's happening is that the rogues have been sequestered here on Earth. And to my knowledge, what's happening on Mars is that they are transcending the earthly politics and all the earthly alien behavior. They are transcending that and learning to live together and actually keeping their word with the other groups. But that's all I have. Again, I don't have anything other than that because the conversations have been mostly about humanity, digging ourselves out of this hole and awakening from our own coma, so to speak.
Thanks, Alex. It was just a personal thing that there were some survivors from those two bases. That's all it was.
Yes, there were.
Thanks.